I'm reading your comments. I'm loving the interaction. So today we're going to get into the adrenals. Hey sponsor! So glad you're still here. Like I mentioned in my other videos, people's YouTube videos are sponsored by companies or products, but my videos right at this moment are sponsored by you. And I thank you so much for watching. That's all you need to do is just keep watching the videos, subscribe to my channel, and you are my sponsor. And so I just want to tell you thank you again. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Inside Stylist podcast. This is episode 4, and it's going to be about the adrenals. I had a comment by K8 Sage, and this person wrote, I would love if you could talk more about your adrenals and your experience with supporting your adrenals while healing and now that you are doing more in your life. Great question, but I think in order to speak about the adrenals, I think I have to give a little bit of a backstory of what it was like when I first started. And back then, 8 years ago, my adrenals were quite fatigued and was not working properly. And there were a lot of things that made me feel like fight or flight situation for no reason. And I would get extreme fatigue quite often. And so back when I first started following this medical medium lifestyle, I actually had to eat my adrenal snacks. I had to eat them every hour, sometimes even half an hour. And they weren't big meals, they were quite small, but I had to eat like often. Much more than, I think he recommends every 1.5 to 2 hours around there, or 2 to 3 hours or something like that. But I was eating like every half an hour to an hour. And what Anthony William, the medical medium, says is that to supply your body with the right kind of energy, you need glucose, good glucose. You need mineral salts, and you need potassium. So that's the 3 that you need to supply good energy for your body. And that by doing that, you support your adrenal glands so that the adrenal glands don't have to release adrenaline for you to have an energy source for your body. So now that I am much further along and I feel like my adrenal glands have healed a bit more, I don't have to eat as often. To be quite honest, sometimes I kind of forget, which is not good. Don't do that. But I kind of stretch it out a little bit. It's like 3 hours and stick to the 2-ish. Don't go 3, 4. That's not good. But and the reason you don't want to do that is you don't want, especially if you're healing and you're on this healing journey, you don't really want adrenaline being used or being produced in your body, because big amounts of adrenaline can also prevent you from healing as quickly, because the body will have to filter that adrenaline out. And it makes it a good environment for any sort of pathogens to proliferate in. So you don't really want adrenaline rushing around in your body. So do your adrenal snacks and try to eat quite often and try to supply your body with the right kind of energy. Now, Since I am more active and more on the go and I'm doing a lot more things, I tend to eat bigger snacks or bigger amounts, more sugar, more glucose from the right kinds of foods like your fruits. That's my source of glucose, not from processed sugars or candy or anything like that. It's from the right source of glucose. So they do come from fruits. Occasionally, it will also come from, I like to use raw honey as a good source of calories sometimes for me. It's just something I like to use because sometimes I have difficulty with digestion, and fruits, because of the fiber content, can make it a little more difficult. And if I need a little extra boost of glucose, then I'll add some raw honey to my water, or I'll drizzle a little bit of raw honey on top of my banana for just a little bit of extra calories. I think it's really important to make sure that, especially if you are active, to eat enough calories, and that can be forgotten sometimes on this diet, that you undereat calories, like you're not eating enough fruit. So be mindful of those kind of things. And another good thing that I like to use is dates. Dates are excellent sources of adrenal support. It has good amounts of glucose in there. And according to medical medium, if you have dates on hand with you, then you will always be able to find food. So that's another good reason why to have some dates on you. But dates are just so easy to pack and carry with you, and they don't turn bad quickly. They're relatively easy to take. They're the best travel food for me. But I also found some of these dried, or are they dried, or maybe they're dehydrated, dried sweet potato. And those little things have been so good for me to take along with some dates, or I usually take bananas or apples, anything that's easy to carry. And I will always cut some celery sticks for mineral salts. I like to munch on that, or sometimes I like to munch on kale. But those are my sources of mineral salts that you have. The mineral salts help to keep you satiated, and you do need mineral salts, especially if you are in a warmer climate and you are sweating a lot. You're going to want to replenish your mineral salts. So for my adrenals, I sort of just, when I'm on the go or busy throughout the day, I tend to like to just make a big smoothie. And I don't really sit there and eat necessarily all the time. Sometimes I'll eat the melons in the morning. But if it's for lunch or so, I usually just make a big smoothie, even sometimes for breakfast. And I just kind of sip on it. So I don't necessarily eat a big meal all at once. I kind of sip on it throughout the day, and that's kind of how I get my food in. And I'm a big snacker, and it's kind of worked for me. Some people like to just sit down and eat a big meal. For my digestion, it doesn't necessarily work. It's smaller meals and little snacks here and there work a lot better for me. So that's kind of what I do. And then my bigger meals are in the evening, where it's cooked or warmer foods. But usually throughout the day, it's just fruits and snacking on some lettuce, or snacking on some celery sticks, or I have the spirulina and the barley grass juice powder. So I have mineral salts in my food, and that's kind of how I do things. Now, I will talk about exercising and being more active in that sense in another video. And if that's something that you are interested in, please leave a comment down below, because that's a whole nother video that I have to talk about and all the things that I'm doing with that. But I hope that this sort of answers your question as far as the adrenals and how the adrenals are healing. I can definitely do way more things, and they're still healing. I feel like my adrenals are still healing, but I don't feel them being so sensitive where any sort of thing just is setting off that fight or flight feeling, or I get super, super fatigued. Those kind of things have kind of subsided. They do occasionally bother me depending on stress and maybe what my body is going through, or the health of my immune system sometimes can cause a lot of stress on the adrenal glands. But honestly, since going fat-free, so many things have really healed and moved forward in my healing. And I just think my body since I removed fat for a time being, has really been able to heal and do the things that it needs to do, since it doesn't have to filter out the fat content or the fat from the foods that I'm eating. It doesn't have to do that anymore. And now it can just, focus and put its energy in healing. And that's the whole reason why I took out fat temporarily. This is a temporary thing. I don't plan to do it for forever, I don't think. But for right now, it's working for me, and that's the goal. So I hope that this answered your question. And again, if you want to hear or learn more about my experiences with exercising, then just leave a comment down below. And I'm still reading all of your comments. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for, just being here. I'm really enjoying this series, and I hope you are too. So until the next video, bye.